Bigfoot, Dogman, Jersey Devil, and others. Are they real? Figments of our imagination? Or the most cleverly disregarded reality of all time? Come into the cabin. Let's sit down and find out together. Hey, welcome back to the cabin. I'm Robbie.
Johnny.
Hey, how's it going today, Johnny?
I am tired.
T-A-R-D.
Yes.
Well, how's the goat life going for you? Is that what's making you tired?
Yes. Somewhere betwixt them and having people come in from out of town. It's I prefer the critters.
Yeah, to the real folks.
They're high maintenance.
Well, speaking of out of town, I wanted to do a show on Alaska, because that's a big unexplored frontier, frozen frontier, but there's a lot of strange stuff goes on up there.
It's special. It's unique in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, we had Fred Roll on the show the other night on DAX Machina, and I love listening to Fred talk. He's got all kinds of encounters. He's got, just really, really interesting guy. I know you've heard him on the show a couple times too.
Yeah.
He's just a laid back individual, but to hear him tell these stories, I mean, you can see it physically shakes him when he tells it about it, but it's so matter of fact the way he describes these things that has happened to him up there. It's just like, oh yeah. Well, I was in the cabin the other day and a 13-foot Bigfoot, threw a rock at me the size of a basketball. Like it happens every Tuesday.
Yeah. That's not a norm,
Yeah. So, but that's kind of the theme and the topic is, it seems like everything's bigger and badder the further north you go. And obviously we can see that happens with real, and when I mean real, I mean the animals that we know about. Bears, moose, wolves, everything's bigger up there. So why can't these things be bigger and meaner?
They much more extreme environment. I don't see why not.
Yeah, and I think that's got a lot to do with it. I think, food and the food sources up there are a lot more scarce. I mean, moose kill people all the time up there.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I've seen that video where that guy comes out of the bank and that moose stomps his guts out because those kids were throwing snowballs at it for like 15 minutes before that, and he just happened to walk out of the bank at the wrong time, and it killed him. It stomped his guts out, literally.
Oh God.
And I mean, most places that are moose are just like, seeing a moose is like us seeing a dog.
I heard the stats. I saw the stats the other day. It was there was more moose killings than all the bears combined in Alaska.
Yeah. Bullwinkle kind of got it wrong.
Yeah, he may be dumb, but he's very, very dangerous.
Yeah, that's kind of a bad combination, dumb and dangerous.
And big.
But anyway, so, and somebody asked Fred the question. This is what kind of got me thinking about doing this show. Somebody asked him the question about the triangle, the Alaskan triangle. And what Fred said is, basically, if you draw and put all the population centers, that it basically forms what is called the triangle. And there's a lot of untouched wood and area inside that, because a population center in Alaska could be what, 300 people.
Yeah,
so
just township type stuff.
So, but basically that's how he described it. But there is, quote unquote, an Alaskan triangle, and there's a lot of stuff that happens in there. And there's a lot of people go missing in Alaska every year. I think you said you had a website that talked about that.
I'm on their actual Alaska. Of course, it's the Alaska Bureau of Investigation. So It's just dps.alaska.gov. And from there, you can navigate through. But they have photos of people that have been missing. They don't give you a concrete number or any explanation. It's like, have you seen Waldo? Here's his stats.
Yeah.
Next.
He was this old when he disappeared.
Yeah, and it's some stuff from the 60s, some stuff from the 90s. It's all mixed up, too.
Do they have anything about that entire village that went missing? Not
on that site. You know they won't.
I was curious.
Yeah, that fishing and cannery village. Yeah, that was, what was the, I'm no good with the Inuit words.
Man, we just talked about this, too, and I can't remember the name of it. Tyler, can you see if you can pull up that? I want to say what was it in the 60s?
It was in the 50s or the 60s.
It should be it's a fishing village in Alaska. Supposedly, a bunch of people went missing, and they ended up shutting the whole town down because of alleged Bigfoot activity. That's supposedly Bigfoot were doing snatch and grabs.
Yep. And then the people finally said, well, numbers are going down, time to get out.
Let me get my old people eyes on so I can read what Tyler just handed me.
You always need your...
Yeah. On the southern coast of Alaska, a mining tunnel, rubble, and rusted cannery equipment are all the remains of a village on Port Lock. That's it. The residents of this shipping and canning port abandoned Port Lock around 1950 in favor of towns built closer to the New Alaska Route, State Highway 1. Of course, I guess that's the official, this is why they moved, but according to people who were actually in the town, like that were left, like the postmaster and things like that, it had nothing to do with that. Oh, we just want to move closer to the road. Oh, yeah. We'll move further away from the big hairy creatures that keep coming in and grabbing our fish and grabbing our people.
And I mean, when you look at the triangle, it's so big. It's about over a third of the state.
Yeah.
And the state's greater than Texas.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what Fred was saying. He said, it's just basically the population center, but that's where most of the people go missing from. I mean, obviously there's people who go missing from
that never get reported from the smaller villages I mean, from Juneau to Anchorage and to Barrow and then back. That's a huge piece of real estate.
Yeah, and there's more than just Bigfoot that are reported up there. There's the Kushtaka, which is the otter man.
The otter man, yeah.
Then there's something that I've heard of called the saber wolf, and I asked Fred about it. He said he'd heard a little bit about it, and what he thought that it might be is a holdover from like a dire wolf or something like that. But there's all kinds of Inuit legends up there. I think there's thunderbirds that are reported up there.
There's a lot of thunderbird stuff from up there.
Yeah, and I mean, you think about it, Alaska is basically a big First Nations tribe state. I mean, there's a lot of Native Americans that live there, and Native American culture is rich in these legends and these folklores and things like that. So I mean, it stands to reason that just like if you talk to a Native American around here, like I've got friends and relatives who are First Nation, and to them, this is just a part of life. I mean, they accept that these creatures exist. It's not like you got to convince them. Like, when you and I are talking to somebody, and people looking at us like we're, we need to be wearing the Hug Me jacket. you like that?
Love yourself.
The Love Yourself jacket. It is part of their culture. It's part of their heritage. It's just, you know what I'm trying to say. They just accept it. Just like we accept. Oh yeah, there's a cat. Those cats are all over the place.
Well, in Florida, I mean, you deal with real people out in the woods. Nobody laughs at the skunk ape stories.
Mm-mm.
Everybody knows it's common lore. Whether you've seen it or not, they don't poo-poo it.
Yeah.
But here's a question from me. What is $125 million in today's money?
In today's money?
It ain't that much, is it? It's not that impressive.
No, not really. I mean,
why did Russia sell Alaska to us in 1867 for $7.2 million? That's equivalent to 125 in modern money, ish. At least with my Common Core skills, I think that's right. But long story short, maybe they dumped it because it was like tainted land.
That's possible.
You got to think about the Mr. Rogers version of history we've been given.
Well, think about some of the stuff in Russia that's close to that area. I mean, I want to say the Nahanni Valley is close to that, isn't it? Or is that in Canada?
I'm not.
But Tyler said that's in Canada, but there's a lot of stuff in Russia. Well, the Dyatlov Pass, that's one of the most famous.
That's over in the Urals,
yeah,
though, isn't it?
Right, but they've got stuff like that. So if that was part of it, or if that, okay, we're dealing with this over here. We don't need to deal with it over here too. Let's give this to the Americans, basically. But let's make a little money off of it. That could very well be.
And then a couple years later, maybe a decade later, we strike oil and gold and all kinds of stuff. And I don't remember there being any squabble.
No, they probably said, "Das vidanya." But there again, that brings up the point that I brought up on this show and DA's show. Every major country, civilization, whether it be European, white European, Anglo-Saxon, Native American, Chinese, name it, there is some kind of story or folklore or legend about a creature like this. Every single one. Why?
Yeah. And you think about, the Otter Man thing. Okay, you got the Bigfoot, that is a universal boogeyman. The Dog Man, universal boogeyman. You have the Otter Man. Think about all the stuff that's in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But, Inuits, Asians, they share a lot of things. All the coastal people kind of share things. It's, I don't know. There's a lot going on up there.
Yeah. I think it's, when people just write stuff off like, oh, well, that couldn't exist. That's just so ignorant of a statement to say that couldn't exist. To me, it's like saying, oh, there's no way that in all our vast ocean, a megalodon could not exist anymore. How do you say that? How do you say that in 88 million acres of untouched forest that something like these creatures couldn't exist?
Yeah, you can't. To definitively say this cannot exist. Pompous and arrogance is what I'm hearing.
So, Tyler, how big is Alaska as far as acreage? We know that there's 88 million acres of national forest that Teddy Roosevelt set aside, which, we're not going to get into the we're going to have a show on the Bauman theory. Probably after, spoiler alert, we're going to have a surprise for y'all at the end of the show. Alaska, that's a big number. 365 million acres? Yeah, Alaska's 365 million acres.
Yeah, let's see the square mileage of Texas.
Yeah. So, what can hide? We said that, what can hide in 88 million acres? That's a lot of land. But what in the world could hide in 365 million?
Texas is only 268.5 million.
So Texas could hide in Alaska.
Yes. Hell, the triangle's bigger than Texas by itself.
So like I said, it's an ignorant statement for anybody to say, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this creature does not exist or these creatures do not exist. That is just
Yeah.
To me, you just cannot get any. Yeah, there you go. That's a picture of Texas inside Alaska.
God, what a mess.
So you can't get any more ignorant than making a statement like that, saying, yeah, if you put, Tyler just showed me a picture, if you set Alaska in the middle of the United States, it takes up probably a third of the country.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sitting here looking. Alaska has like 33,000 miles of waterfront, coastline. I never got into Alaska when I was a kid. I was in the swamps of Florida.
Well, okay, but take the swamps. How much land is undiscovered and untouched in the Everglades?
Yep.
There are plenty of places in this country alone that something like that, if it doesn't want to be found, can melt away and never be seen. I firmly believe this. I think you believe the same thing I do, Johnny, that if they don't want to be seen, they're not seen. The ones that are seen are the ones that are just curious and are either young and make a mistake, or they don't care and they want to be seen. If one truly does not want to be seen, we're not going to see it.
Nope.
And
you know how big the Kodiak bear is.
Right.
They surprise people all the time.
All the time.
That's a damn Buick bumbling around in the woods. Well, he ain't bumbling.
Well, you've heard D.A. tell the story about when he was walking and turned a corner and was close enough to boop the grizzly on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you said, maybe not as big as a Kodiak, but
it's still substantial. It's a Volkswagen.
Yeah. Maybe a Caprice versus a Cadillac.
Yeah.
But
still dangerous.
Yeah. And I had this conversation with somebody last week. Well, why do we not find any skeletons? I mean, I love that question because this person was a hunter, and I said, "Okay, you hunt, right?" "Yep." I said, "How many bear skeletons have you ever found in the woods?" Well, none. "How many deer skeletons you ever found in the woods?" "None." "How many squirrel skeletons you ever found in the woods?" "None." I said, but those all exist, don't they?
They biodegrade and they get scattered quickly.
Yeah. So, but if our cave theory is true, and these things are as smart as we think they are, we know that gorillas and chimpanzees and orangutans carry their dead off and don't just leave them out. Why is it so much of a stretch to look at what gorillas and chimpanzees and hell, the billy ape, that a 6-foot upright chimp, we know exists, but yet we can't buy into the fact that another kind of great ape exists in North America and other places? Nah. Mm-mm.
I mean, you got one place. This is just like one of their stats, and they won't nail it down, but 500 to 2,000 people go missing a year in Alaska. And the majority of them are in the Triangle, but then that's your most populated place. Yeah, and it's everything from engineers, scientists, Inuits. I mean, it's everything.
And everybody. There's
no one demographic.
Right.
It's not meth heads going off stealing transformers
but that brings up another point. You know, when you start talking about people who are missing, those are just the ones that get reported. Like
exactly.
you hit the nail on the head a minute ago. How many people don't get reported a year? How many homeless, the transient population, that don't have anybody to report them, how many of them go missing a year? I mean, think about how astronomically high that would shoot that number up if you actually knew that.
Yep. And you're never going to get a fair shake doing Google searches.
No, they're going. It's going to be skewed to however they want it to. But even skewing the numbers, it's still really high.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that in itself kind of lends to the fact that the government knows what's going on. Because if it wasn't that, why skew the numbers?
Bingo. If there's nothing to hide, you have no reason to be secretive or make a mess out of something.
You know, just like we were talking about off camera. Why have the 24-hour service company in a primitive campsite that's never had power, never had anything other than, or supposedly never had power? We did find the power boxes there, 3-phase. Yeah.
3-phase.
Oh, yeah, it was 3-phase. I thought 3-phase, but when we started talking about it the other night, we had somebody on the show who knows, and we put the pictures up, and he looked at it, he said, oh, yeah, that's 3-phase.
That's substantial draw right there.
Uh-huh.
Was there a Tesla charging unit nearby?
Well, this was just what was left over of a box. And the Tesla unit's probably underground in one of the domes.
Yes, yes.
And for those of you who don't know what that stands for,
yes,
Deep Underground Military Base.
Yep.
So, what's funny about that, did I tell you about Jessica doing a target on that place?
Dulce?
Yeah, on Joe Bald.
Oh, on Joe Bald.
Yeah. She did a reading on it, targeted it for DA. This was after the breakdown video where they saw the dog man. Have you seen that video, right? You need to go on DA's YouTube and go to videos and look at Joe Ball breakdown video. Okay.
So there's like an update, deeper dive into it.
Well, if you've seen that video, there's not a deeper dive. It's just that's the video that I'm talking about. So after him and Steve were out there shooting for, and I know this is kind of off the Alaskan topic, but we'll circle back around and tie it all together. Him and Steve were out there shooting a video on a cell phone for the Lakeview Man book. Mm-hmm. DA's talking. He's got his flashlight. He turns around.
Yeah, behind him up in the trees.
Yeah, and they don't see anything. They don't think anything about it. Well, they're showing the video on the show, and somebody in the chat says, "Whoa, hey, hold up a minute! You got something behind you." So they sent it to some friends of theirs who kind of do video analysis and things like that. And you can see it. You can see the thing moving, and when they actually trace it, it's like 12 and a half, 13 foot off the ground.
It's crazy.
And it is a face of a wolf. And you can actually see one of the claws. I'm getting chills talking about it right now. But
I got them right now. I remember.
Johnny, I stood on that bridge that DA was standing on, looking at that tree, knowing what was on that video. At night, thinking,
Yeah.
Thinking, I want to run straight into those woods. That's how dumb I am.
Yes.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But, so after all this comes out, he asked Jessica to do a target. Guess what Jessica picks up? She picks up Watcher or Guardian. She picks up Deep Underground. And Power, I think, was the other one. So what do me and DA and Noah find? A power box that was in a primitive campsite that had nothing to be powered. Found two of them. Still had the wire. And Johnny, I'm talking like 2-inch wire. That's
the big stuff.
Yeah, that's why I looked at it. Because my dad's got 3-phase stuff in his shop. I was like, that's 3-phase wires. Well, I was telling Noah, and he was like, "What?" I said, "That ain't just for powering lights, street lights in the park.
That's a main run."
Yeah. I said, that's for powering big stuff. I said, my dad's got 4 lathes and a couple mill machines that he powers on stuff like that. Because he's got a couple machines that have to have 3-phase, which I've got a big industrial grinder in my garage that takes 3-phase. That's the only reason I hadn't ever put it, because I don't have 3-phase and I ain't paying somebody to come in there and set that up. But
we'll talk about that after the show.
But the point is, when you start looking at all this stuff, and looking at stuff like that, and then looking at the stuff like what we talked about with the numbers, and all these dots are out there, but until you start really pulling them together, they don't make a lot of sense by themselves. But when you start really thinking about it and talking about all these stuff and rationalizing, it starts really looking conspiratorial.
Yeah. I mean, there's just too much stuff hidden. Throw us a bone, man.
Yeah. Well, and you and I've talked about it back, and you were in the Army. It's a known fact. I still want to get a hold of one of them, but it's a known fact that
The map.
and the manual, that in the Army training manual, at one point there was, this is a Bigfoot is a creature that you'll run into on field training exercises, especially in the Pacific Northwest. Why would they put that in there? If
The Army manuals have no sense of humor.
exactly,
Or inflection of any.
or the Army in general has no sense of humor. So, I mean, soft disclosure.
Yeah. They've already done it with the whirly gigs up in the sky, so why not,
Yeah. Well, and I've kind of got a little bit of pushback on this one, but if you talk about or think about Jules Verne, when he wrote 20,000 Leagues Beneath the Sea, how far back did he write that before we actually had? I mean, he basically wrote about a nuclear class submarine.
Yeah.
Look at Journey to the Center of the Earth. Now they're
hey, tech guy, how many fathoms is a league?
But when he wrote Journey to the Center of the Earth, a couple years ago, they actually found something that actually replicates what he wrote about in the book.
Good God, that's a lot of fathoms. And I think a fathom's like 7 foot or something like that.
7 to 10 feet, maybe, I think. I think it is something odd, like 7. I think you're right.
Can you convert that to hectares? Or pecks?
It's going to be at the bottom of a 80-hectare lake.
Yeah, that, getting back to it, I mean, I always wanted to go to Alaska. I don't want to do the touristy things if I went.
Yeah.
I would definitely want to go to the interior.
Well, and some of these YouTubers I watch that do the van life, the van camping, and car camping type stuff. I just wonder how deep do they let people like that go? That are just. Is there something that the government knows what's going on? Obviously, do they just let people go and do stuff like that without? Or is there like, okay, you can't get no further than this?
Yeah, I mean, there's always gatekeeping on any of these, subjects. Whether it's Lovelock Cave or, what's that little island off of California where they found all the giant stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, the Smithsonian is the boogeyman we all point at, but it's way bigger than the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian was created to be the boogeyman.
The Smithsonian is just the vault where all the evidence is stored.
Exactly. So I would love to know more Russian history about Alaska.
Oh, we talked about this before. Can you imagine? But just imagine the stuff that is locked away in the Smithsonian or underneath the Vatican or the Library of Alexandria. And I, for one, I'm glad you got your tinfoil hat on. I don't think that all that stuff from the Library of Alexandria was destroyed.
No.
I think
it was hauled out. And the fire was to hide evidence.
I think Alexandria took that stuff and hid it. And
or if there was even a fire,
it may be even under the Vatican right now. That may be where.
I guarantee you, there's.
I know that's another topic for another show.
A big one.
But that's kind of the point. People like us who actually see through the veil or see through the BS, however you want to spin it, people that are comfortably with the blinder or comfortable with the blinders on, that just straight ahead.
They're called normies.
Yeah. Well, there's so many questions out there. And I mean, it's just like the name of the show. What's really out there? you know, when you and I first started talking and started figuring the direction we wanted to go with this, you know, yeah, Bigfoot's what kind of got us started in it, but there's so much more out there and so many more questions and so many more things that are just like, wow, that's connected.
When I saw that primate in the trees in Hawaii, and I was told they do not exist, I did not see what I saw, and it was not a real thing. When I was told that, they took the last little piece of dental floss off that wasn't a blinder.
Yeah.
I said, okay, you're telling me that I didn't see what I saw? Okay, got it.
Well, you know, my mom still to this day, I'm 49 years old, and my stepdad says my story has not changed one bit.
Yeah.
Since I was 8.5, 9 years old and told that story. That's a long time to tell that story. My mom still looks me in the eyes and says, you didn't see that. You're really?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to go with that one? I don't know what you saw, but you didn't see that. Or you're right. You don't know what I saw.
And I'm still a firm believer when you see somebody kind of poo-pooing it when you're talking about it and they laugh. Listen to their laughter. It's generally a nervous laughter because they don't want that injected into their existence. There's no way this is real because I haven't seen it. Because you don't get off your ass and get out and do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see anything playing on the Xbox or watching Marvel comic book movies. I mean, that's not real. Get out there, actually learn your Norse mythology, see where Marvel got it wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and have fun with it. Don't sit there and have entertainment be your God. Get out in nature, do things, read books. Heaven forbid you might get a paper cut.
Yeah.
Then you got scars. Scars. Chicks dig scars.
And that's Johnny's soapbox for the night.
No more rant. I would drop the mic, but it's on a really cool stand.
But all rant and soapbox and everything aside, that's the truth, though. I mean, there's so many people, and the generations that are, and present company excluded, because Tyler gets out and goes and does things, but a lot of the people after our generation, Johnny, just that's all they want to do.
When we're gone, you might as well just have VR for everything.
Yeah,
because nobody's going to get out and do anything when the Gen Xers are gone. Everything's going to be plastic, synthetic, digital, virtual. Nothing's real anymore.
Yeah, I mean
that's why there's a lot of room for us out in the woods.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm not trying to make this about a generational thing, but because there are a lot of people that are that age that do get out and do stuff. My daughter, my son, Tyler, but that's because they've listened to our generation and they understood that there's something to that. There's something about
a sense of wonder.
Yeah, I mean, I know we don't get to get out as much as because of our schedules and work and things like that, but like this, we're about to drop this little surprise on the listeners here in a minute. But it's when you get to do stuff like that, it's just I've been excited.
Yeah,
I'm just like counting down. I'm like, I can't believe it's only 2 weeks away. Basically, it's probably not even that long now.
No, it's about a week. Well,
it'll be a week come Wednesday. Yeah, day after tomorrow. So, well, that being said, I guess we can kind of let the cat out of the bag, Johnny.
Yeah, we could be a wolf turd in about 2 weeks.
Possibly. So, by the time y'all hear this, hopefully we'll already be back and working on the second episode. If not, and this is our last hurrah, then you heard it here first, folks. So anyway, this is something that we've been planning for better part of a year, Johnny.
Oh, wow.
And it was supposed to be more than just me and Johnny, obviously. DA was going, Doc was going, Steve was going to try to go. That'd be Wild Man Steve, not our Steve from here, but Steve Monrotis.
The guy with the grub and pub.
Yeah, Pub and Grub. Steve's Pub and Grub. But, you know, things happen. DA's son's getting married, and his son had planned something that he didn't know about. And then Doc, of course, most of his help for teaching his classes has not been able to help this year. So Doc's teaching every single class. So that wrote him out. So hopefully Greg's still going to be there. He's supposed to come down and meet us, Greg Ogles. But Tyler and Taylor are going with us, and Johnny and I are leaving next Wednesday morning. Hopefully by the time y'all hear this, we'll already be back. And like I said, but we're leaving next Wednesday morning, which will be the 3rd, April 3rd. I think. Yes.
3rd.
Johnny and I are leaving April 3rd, and we're going to the LBL, which is something that ever since Johnny and I have been friends and been talking about this, we've been wanting to do this, and things just kind of fell together and worked out, and we just planned, and regardless of who else ends up coming or not, Johnny and I are going. You know, we've already got our rooms booked, and Johnny's is already paid for. Mine's the money's set aside for it already, but it's already booked. We got equipment coming. So hopefully, if everything works the way we want it to, you know, big if, but if things work the way we want it to, hopefully Tyler's going to be able to engineer a really good surprise for y'all the next show that comes out. Because hopefully the next show that comes out, there's going to be video to accompany me and Johnny talking. Because we got some camera equipment and some things like that, and we're gonna try to do some filming, and you know, who knows, maybe catch or track some or cast some prints and things like that, track some things. There's supposed to be another Bigfoot group down there at that time that Greg had told me about. I don't know if that's still going on or not, but yeah, me and Johnny gonna go down there and see if we can track us a dog man or a Bigfoot or both.
It's kind of a mixed bag. Do I really want to find this thing? I'm serious about the wolf turd part. I don't know much about their digestive tract. I'd like to keep it that way.
So what Johnny's saying is he hopes we find a footprint, just not the foot that made the print.
Yeah, I don't want to see it still in it.
Well, we got Tyler going with us. He's big, so maybe he'll scare him off.
He's going to trip us and outrun us.
Probably.
I'm the oldest, so
not by much.
I'll take one for the team. I'll at least put a bad taste in his mouth.
Yeah. That guy tasted like crap.
I'm wearing my brown pants, and I'm carrying Scooby snacks.
Yep. As I tap my wrist and say, "Oh, would you look at the time?"
Yep.
So, yes, we are going to the LBL. As it stands right now, we are Monday, March 25th is when we're recording this, and we're leaving April 3rd. So, y'all wish us luck. Of course, like I said, by the time y'all hear this and wish us that luck, it really won't matter at that point one way or the other. Since we're not going live right now.
Now, think about this now. This hit me the other day. We're getting back on the 7th. The next day is that big eclipse.
It's probably a good thing we're not going to be down there on that eclipse.
That sucks because that's closer to the path than we're going to be home. We're going to be way out of the path. The LBL wasn't maybe an hour or two out of the direct dark path.
Like I said, maybe it's a good idea. We're not going to be down there at that
Can
time.
you imagine being in there doing some ooga booga stuff? Maybe even get really stupid and do like a predator call, and then all of a sudden the eclipse happens? Yeah. That's no bueno.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a smart idea. I don't think doing a predator crawl is a smart idea anyway. So, anyway. So, yeah, that's our that's our big announcement, and hopefully things will work out right, and hopefully y'all get to see a nice video, and hopefully the only reason that you would not get to see a video is just we couldn't get it edited. Not that we got it. Editing is good. Etting is not.
That's a Bakersfield word.
Yeah, that's a Bill Engvall word. I believe he ate Johnny.
Well, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, we're gonna have a
either
good time.
way.
So, but hopefully you folks will get a good video and a good story or two out of it. Usually Johnny and I have pretty good luck though when we go out and do these things. We found footprints, and we found a lot of good sign and things like that. So hopefully that'll keep going. We'll find something.
Yeah.
Just not standing in the footprints. Johnny don't want to find the footprint occupied.
Yeah.
He wants to find the footprint past tense, not present tense.
Yeah. God, this is gonna be cool. But often bigger and better things.
Yep.
We're gonna do it.
Yep. So, anyway, you got anything else, Johnny?
No, I think we're pretty well ahead of the curve here.
Yeah. I checked. I think we're at 467, I think. Tyler, can you check that right quick and see what our subscribers on YouTube are? We got 2 new subscribers off the show from the other night.
Cool.
A couple people were asking and put it out there.
Well, I turned some people on just last night. So we should have.
We're at 482, Johnny. We're almost the 500 mark. So that's our first milestone, is the 500 mark. I believe this will be episode 50 when it goes out. Even though we've got a couple episodes that didn't show up on the YouTube channel, this will be the 50. Now, remember what we talked about? There's 2 extras that are on there, so don't count those extra ones, Tyler. I know. 45? He's confusing me. Johnny, what's he saying?
54. What the hell are you doing? You got 9? You got 9 fingers up.
49?
So
I thought that's what I said.
I have no idea.
Anyway.
Y'all got to work on this pictograph stuff. Y'all suck at charades. Because it wasn't digital, Zoomer.
See, Tyler, you're holding it from one side to the other, but I'm looking at it from the opposite side. One of these days, we're going to get him to talk.
Yes.
But anyway, I've talked to Lance. Some of y'all know Lance. He was with me when we first started this. He's going to come back. Hopefully, obviously not the episode from the LBL. Maybe our next episode that we record, maybe I'll be able to get him up here. We're gonna revisit the Escape War Swamp Lizard Man story, because that's the last story that Lance actually worked on. It was a really short video, but it's actually been one of our most popular videos.
Like episode 5.
Yeah, it was like the second episode it's on YouTube, but it was like the 5th total episode. I still wish we could figure out how, because we had our very first episode. We had the one about the little boy in North Carolina that the bear saved him.
Yep.
We had some good episodes, those first ones, but we didn't know what we was doing at that time, and they're not attached to this YouTube channel. So Tyler's looked into it a couple times. There may be some things he might be able to do to get them on there, but
we got to teach him how to count with his fingers first. The tech guy with the abacus and the dull crayons.
Ranger beads. Anyway, all right. But like we figured out we're at 482 subscribers. We've got 49 episodes on. So I guess this will be 49 or this will be 50, Tyler. This one will be 49? Okay. This episode will be 49, Johnny. I understood him that time.
A wink's as good as a nod to a blind mule.
So anyway, this will be episode 49. So for episode 50, that's when I was kind of wanting to get Lance in here. So maybe we can swing that, and then the LBL, maybe episode 51.
That sounds good.
If we can get Lance in here. If not, because I'd ask him to come in tonight so we could try to do 2 episodes tonight, but you get him recorded, but he had something he had to do. So maybe we can get him in here next Monday or the Monday before we leave, and do that one, and then when we come back, hopefully get the LBL episode done, which I guess we can get a good head start on while we're down there, do some editing and things like that, and get some stuff done on what we get daily. That'll kind of help us out on memory space and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, if you folks want to get in touch with us, you can get us on our Facebook page at What's Really Out There. Get us on YouTube, What's Really Out There. Hit that subscribe button if you like what we got going on here on DAX Mocking a Light, as we like to joke about it being on when we talk about it on the show. I mean, if you like that show, you'll probably like this show, and if you like this show, you'll probably like that show. So, we got some people we're friends with that help us out. DAX Machina, the Cryptid Huntress Jessica Jones. She mentions us all the time on her show. Nona Boss Marty, she another good friend of the show. So check all those shows out. If you like this show, you'll like those. Jessica just had a good show the other night about this sheep squatch. That was a really interesting show.
It's in my watch later list.
Yep. And Marty had ended up having a guest on her show a couple Mondays ago named Brian Barber, and it was one of the nights we didn't get to record, so I got to go home and watch her. And Brian, he was just like really good guest, and I was like, man, I'd like to talk to this guy. So I talked to DA, and he went back and watched Marty's show, and he was like, man, this guy's interesting. So we actually got Brian on the show. Great guy from Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Been investigating for about 2.5 years. Was that now? I know how we feel about gifting and things like that, but he didn't. He wasn't in the community. He didn't like have that vast, chain of communication that some of us have had. So he started taking peanut butter jars out and putting them in different spots.
That's the one that had the different colors, the blue versus red.
But he was writing the date on the top of it and the bottom of it, and sometimes he'd get them back, and it'd be a different date on the bottom and a different date on the top.
I didn't catch that part of it, but it was a good show.
Yeah. Brian's a good guy. If we do start going live, he would definitely be one of the people I'd want to get on here. He's really humble. He's I'm not a researcher like y'all are. Whoa, dude, you're just as much of a researcher as we are. Actually, probably more. Yeah. And he's like, no, man, he's just super humble.
If he's doing cool experiments like that.
Yeah, but super humble guy, super cool, super nice, just down to earth. And his story. Did you catch that part of it?
I came in 45 minutes into the show, so I missed some of the initial stuff.
He was in an El Camino, and he's driving down the road and saw this thing, and when it stood up, he said its shoulders was wide as the front end of his El Camino, and pretty much took up his windshield. So he said, and he was like, his first initial thought was when it stood up and looked at him was to hit the horn, and he said, just as he was getting ready to do it, something told him, bad idea. You do this, it's going to peel this thing like a tuna can. So he didn't, and he just kind of sat there and watched it off, and it finally just took off on 2 legs. off the side of the road. Finally, he thought at first it was a big bag of trash. That's why he
I'm
kind of slowed down.
gonna go back and listen to the first part of the show then.
Yeah, Brian's a really good guy. But yeah, y'all go check those shows out. DA Ex Machina, Nona Boss Continuum, Cryptid Huntress. Now, Jessica's on a lot. She's got her show, The Glitch in the Matrix. She's on Spaced Out Radio.
That's a busy girl.
Yeah, she is. I don't know how she keeps up with it. But she's great. I went down and hung out with her last weekend at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference. Heard her speak again, and I told you the spot that we went to last year.
Yeah.
Did I tell you what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had another encounter. That's right. I did get to tell you. I forgot that. So we'll get into that.
Yeah.
That was
if you can't get Lance, that could be next week. So
yeah,
do a segment on that.
And even if we get Lance, we can probably talk about it a little bit. But yeah, that was that was definitely a different type of experience. So, but other than that, if you ain't got anything else, Johnny, I guess we're gonna let them go for tonight.
Let them go. That's we've already done our eulogies, and I think everything's. I'm leaving everything to my goats, so it's all good.
What your dogs? They're not gonna get any of it.
They get the goats.
Oh, they get the goats. The goats get everything, and then the dogs get the goats.
That's how you run a trust.
Got it. Well, I guess since Taylor and Tyler are going with me, I guess Kevin gets everything if something happens to me, and y'all.
What's left?
Or if y'all get out, y'all can split it. I don't. Yeah.
Well.
All right, folks. Well, wish us luck, even though it ain't really going to matter.
No.
One way or the other, it'll be done by the time y'all hear this.
Scooby Snacks or Scooby Snacks.
Unless Tyler can get it done quick and Taylor can get the stuff done, we can get it out this Friday. Y'all might hear it before then. If not, Tyler, you think we can get it to them by this Friday? All right, folks.
No. You make them listen to this post-mortem. Be like Ghost in the Box.
Yeah. Well, if we're post-mortem, I don't think we can make them listen to anything, Johnny.
But you have it released on a timer.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be up to
our tech guy with the abacus, and this is the same guy that runs an analog watch. Our tech guy. This guy solders ICs. I mean, he's like the uber tech nerd, and he uses it. Now, it may be a Rolex, or it could be a Timex. I'm not sure. I'm going with Timex.
Oh, me.
All right.
Yeah, you just got to feel the love around here sometimes.
Warm and fuzzy. Another free service of mine.
All right, folks. Well, me and Johnny are going to get ready to go to the LBL and see if we can survive. I think we can.
Yeah, I ain't worried about it. Either way.
Well, we're a couple mean old codgers anyway, so.
Either we come back with cool stories or somebody's got a cool story.
Yeah, we might come back with some cool scars. Who knows?
Yeah.
Now, I just wonder if you get bit or scratched by a dog man, is it the same as a werewolf? Do we get turned into?
I hope so.
That would be a cool story.
Yeah, as long as I don't hurt my goats when I come home, we'll be all right.
You might have to lock yourself up once a month. But
I'm getting that. How good can you lock yourself up in a single wide trailer?
You may have to go out to the shop. Because you got some places out in the shop that you could lock yourself up pretty secure.
Yeah, maybe. Roll in the gun safe, let you lock me.
All right, folks. Well, we will see you next time.
Yep, we will do this again.
All right.
Oh.
See you later, everybody.